Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Jed Morgan, and I just finished the recent Assassin's Creed Mirage game, and it is far worse than I originally thought it was going to be. I went into the game thinking I wasn't going to like it, at least from a storytelling perspective, because Basim as a main character never made much sense to me, and it felt like a soft remake of Assassin's Creed 1. I figured at least the gameplay, the traversal system, the combat, stuff like that would still be good, even if it was just the Valhalla system again, or if it was, as they marketed it as, a return to form, a return to formula to the more classic games in the franchise. I came out of it believing that was entirely a lie. That claim that they were going back to formula was a lie. The combat was not back to form. The gameplay was not back to form. The traversal was not back to form. It was far worse than I thought. There is very little that I can compliment this game on, but that's not what I'm going to be talking about specifically in this video. I will have a full review for Assassin's Creed Mirage coming out in the next few days, but what I want to talk about is a recent post release by the Assassin's Creed team at Ubisoft. Another example of blatantly false and lying marketing, like the claim that they went back to form, because there is very little about Mirage that is back to form besides the occasional member berries and recreating things that people know from Assassin's Creed 1. That is not enough to claim back to formula. If anything, they took the Valhalla formula, the Valhalla template and engine and everything like that, and dipped it in molasses. And I'll go into why I believe molasses is an apt comparison or metaphor for the traversal system of Mirage. But we have this post that the Assassin's Creed team at Ubisoft put out saying, "It's been out for 6 days. We're thrilled by the love and positivity." That first line, nothing wrong with it. Thank you for joining this incredible journey. A lot of that opening stuff is great. Thanking the fans. I always have to give credit to a studio when they come out and say good things, positive things about their fan base and their player base. So I have to give them perks for that. 100% love those first two lines there. Nothing wrong with that. Celebrating their 15-year legacy. That's all great. But with what they say, the number of players is much in line with the successful launches of Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey. They are humbled by the positive reception. They don't put out any actual figures. They don't give out numbers of players. They don't give out sales figures. So I'm already questioning the legitimacy of this statement. And Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey did have very massive openings. Valhalla was by far the biggest opening in Assassin's Creed history, however, and they don't mention it. So it looks like it's a drop. Everyone knew it was going to be a drop because it was a much smaller game. The marketing was a lot smaller than Valhalla had, and generally it feels more like a DLC to Valhalla. And I think at best, this game can be called an overpriced and poorly made DLC for Valhalla, and at worst, a craptastic waste of money that is not worth a single dime. But this is when we start to have a little bit of an issue with blatant misrepresenting. Maybe not lying, but misrepresenting and trying to cope out a positive message. They might be telling the truth in that it was very successful and they see it successful, but the way they're presenting the information is very suspect in my opinion. They say, "We are proud to also share that Assassin's Creed Mirage is the biggest new gen launch in terms of unit of sales to date at Ubisoft for PS5, Xbox Series X through S." That's the next gen is what they're talking about, the most recent generation of consoles. Now, at first, that sounds really good. It's like, oh yeah, the best-selling game of an era. That's incredible, especially after how much Valhalla sold. The thing they don't include here is the competition that it had for that highest selling spot of the generation. The games that came out during this generation for Ubisoft were the Crew Motorfest. Have no idea what that is. Never heard of that. The Settlers, New Allies. Again, never heard of it. Oddballers. Just Dance. They're still making Just Dance games. I had no idea they were still making Just Dance games. That seems to be the most legitimate competition for Assassin's Creed Mirage, except perhaps the Tom Clancy Rainbow Siege 6 Extraction. From what I've heard, it was universally panned and a lot of people didn't enjoy it, and it's kind of like a side spin-off of Rainbow Siege 6, which is a very popular game. I am aware of that, even though I've never played it. That's the competition that Mirage has for the highest selling Ubisoft next-gen game. That's kind of manipulative to say, "Oh my god, it's our highest selling next gen game." And then when you look into the figures, it's pathetic that they're making that claim because, of course, Assassin's Creed beat those other games. Even the worst selling Assassin's Creed game, I would imagine, would beat out all those competitors. That's kind of dirty marketing, just like the entire marketing campaign saying that this game was back to formula, going back to the roots of the franchise, when that was blatantly false when you actually get to play the events and the traversal system of Mirage. They go on to thank the people who were involved, nothing wrong with that, and as a final thank you, we'd like to share some exciting community achievements from the first week of Mirage. Now this is where it gets interesting. They don't release any sales figures for Mirage, but then they claim that it's highly successful, but the data they do release is pointless. Why do we need to know that 1.2 million street cats were pet? I didn't even know that was a mechanic in the game. I put 15 hours into it, which is about the bare minimum you can do to finish the main story. I didn't even know that was a thing. So, yeah, we petted a lot of cats. Can you tell us how many units were sold? Guess not. 6 million leaps of faith. Well, yeah, you kind of have to do leaps of faith. It's an integral part of the game. And leaps of faith are awesome, even in Mirage, as much as I don't like the game. Again, are you going to give us sales figures or data that actually matters, player numbers, anything that can actually tell us the success of the game, or are you just going to give us pointless trivia? And this last one I think is very telling because they put it out there like it's some piece of positive or fun, quirky news, just like those other pieces of data that they release, but I think it's actually showing something far more negative. 479 collective years were spent parkouring the roofs of Baghdad. That's almost 500 years of in-game gameplay for just traversal. Now, they might think that's awesome. That means people are playing the game. And yes, you can see that argument of it. But I'd argue that a significant portion of that is because of the traversal system in Mirage is awful. It feels like you're running through molasses. They took the traversal system of Valhalla, which was already a little wonky. It was a little weird, but at least it was fast-paced and you could get around fairly well, and dipped it in molasses. I use that metaphor a lot because it feels the most apt. 90% of the game felt like it was fetch quest, where you're just wasting time running through this massive empty city at a snail's pace. So yeah, that'll pad your runtime for parkouring around the city. That, I think, is one of the biggest problems with the game, is how long it takes to do anything. Even combat, which is a massive downgrade in respect to the franchise. I think it's the worst in the franchise. Even worse than the first Assassin's Creed game, which was an unpolished formula and a brand new system, a new style, and very much a virgin studio going into something like this. You can forgive Assassin's Creed 1. This is 15 years into a franchise that has nearly 15 entries and has a combat system and a traversal system worse than their first entry. That's unforgivable. And using the first Assassin's Creed as an excuse for that terrible system is not one that makes any sense for the reasons that I just laid out. But I'll make the argument here that 500 years of parkour time is actually a negative because people are spending so little time actually doing anything enjoyable in the game. There's no epic moments. There's no great characters. No great story like the previous games often had. It's just a slog of, oh my god, we're running. Oh wait, we're not, because the stamina wheel is pathetic. We're going to climb this wall for 20 minutes. Oh my god, isn't this exciting? I think that these figures, especially that one, is actually a negative. Why don't they release the actual unit sales figures? That is what we need to show success of a game, is units sold. It's not complicated. Without them sharing it, that is usually a sign of a problem. Most of the time when big studios, whether they be film, television, or video game, and they don't release the units sold or the amount of viewership, money made, and whatnot, that is usually a sign that they're trying to hide something. Maybe they're not. Again, maybe Ubisoft isn't hiding anything, and Mirage is absolutely one of the highest selling games of the recent era of Assassin's Creed. But the fact that they're not releasing it, the fact that they're giving us this pointless data, and the fact that their marketing up to this point has been a blatant lie, I throw into question these claims made here. But anyway, that's all I have for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Anon.
Hey, yo, are you feeling what I'm doing up in here? Oh, I know you are. Do you miss all the good, compelling stories that we used to get back in Hollywood that they ain't putting down no more? Oh, I know you missing it. So check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues, baby. Book 1, Down in Flames. Book 2, Apocalypse Then. These are currently on sale. What are you waiting for? Get your hands on them. And we got Book 3, Kill the Dark, is coming down the pipeline. Just wait for all the good stuff that's dropping. You ain't gonna be disappointed, fam.